I hope you are doing well. So please do hurry up, join the session, and please do share the session. Okay, so Divya Mishra, very good evening. Once you please share the session, and please do confirm, am I audible and visible? Please do once confirm, am I audible and visible? Yes. So in today's session, we are going to deal with a very important article, that is Article 17. Why Article 17 is very, very important? Because Article 17 basically talks about the uh, abolition of untouchability, and this article is very, very absolute in nature. Why absolute? Because there is no any relaxation for other parties, members, individuals, etc. So yes, now yesterday we have already been discussed about the Article 16, and Article 16 basically this Article 16 which took time for 2 days. Yes, I think Article 16 is not a very short for UPSC prelims and mains. So Article 17 basically I will try to finish this Article 17 in single class in today's class. Okay, so I will not uh, go to the deeper, very deeper part. Go to the deeper part, but not very deeper part. So that is very, very important. Okay. Now come to the Article 17. Come to the Article 17. So what is Article 17? What is Article 17 clause 1? And what is Article 17 clause 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay. 6 is there? No any 6 is there. Okay, basically Article 17 have a is a very single you can say article. So Article 17 clause 1 basically talks about the forbid of the untouchability. You cannot practice untouchability in any manner, in any manner. And Article 17 clause 2, which basically talks about the punishment, which is basically for practicing of the untouchabilities in any manner or any way. Okay, so if we talk about the untouchability, what the Article 70 which basically talks about. Okay, now come to the point. Fundamental rights, fundamental rights, fundamental rights, and we are discussing the article 17. Okay, Article 17. What is Article 17 is all about? So the Article 17 basically talks about the abolition of untouchability. Abolition of untouch in simple terms. Okay, abolition of untouchability. Abolition of untouchability. Okay. Just a second. So abolition of untouchability. Now, uh, is it one thing? In short, we can say abolition of untouchability. If we just go to the background, or if we go to the background of the untouchabilities, we have a example of USA. What happened in the 1863? Vivek, very good evening, and please once do share. I think what happens basically after a long time, or we can say 2 p.m. history class, 3 p.m. Etude class, and 4 p.m. polity class. I don't think uh, the all of the classes and all the students should be present. But yes, yes, I can understand every student's parents situations, but no problem. I am here for 3 hours, okay, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And very soon, uh, there are some hybrid news. There's some hybrid news you can hear from this channel. Okay, so abolition of untouchabilities. We have a very great example. We have now what happens. If we just go to the past. If we just go to the past and in 1863, the time when the Abraham Lincoln, when he became the president of USA, then what happens? He introduced the uh, 13th Amendment, which basically named as a Emancipation Proclamations. Emancipation Proclamations. You don't need to mug up. Just here, just listen carefully. In 1863, Abraham Lincoln introduced the Emancipation Proclamation. That is basically the 13th Amendment in the USA. And in the 13th Amendment of USA, who basically focused on the against the slavery system, or in simple we can say the remove of the slavery system, or eliminating. I'm using the word eliminating of the slavery system. But in the Congress, that is Parliament of the USA, they are very big or super oppositions from the one sections in the Congress. But the successful of the passing of the we can say the 13th Amendment of the USA, which is basically under the Abraham Lincoln, and that is basically related to the slavery system. Slavery system, which is very much similar to the untouchability. Untouchability, that means basically somehow correlate or somehow some relation in the untouchabilities. What happens in the untouchability? Yes, in Indian constitutions there is no any mention in the slavery system, but somehow we have our numbers of things in terms of suppose, let's say, one example. I'm just forgetting. I'm not able to recall some example. Okay, don't worry. So yes, good evening, good afternoon, but this time is good afternoon. Okay, no problem. So abolition of untouchabilities, which basically related to the Article 17. What happens? There is a word. There is a two keyword which is basically related to the Article 17. If someone who practice the untouchability shall considered shall be offense. Here the keyword is shall. If there is a word which is shall means definitely. Shall means definite. Okay. Shall means definitely or definite. So if you perform or you practice untouchability, it shall be considered as offense. First thing. Next thing is the untouchability is somehow forbidden. Next thing. But this is completely an offense. And what about the offense? Is this offense which is mentioned in the Article 17 or anywhere else? This is question basically. Yes. So this offense which is not mentioned in the Article 17, the offense about the which is basically related to the practice of untouchability, which is basically mentioned in the another article. Another article means we have a Article 35 in the fundamental rights. Fundamental rights of Article 35, which basically prescribe the punishment, or which basically prescribe the punishment or for the offenses or different offenses which basically mentioned in the fundamental rights. So Article 15, if there is some discriminations, if anyone performs a discrimination on the basis of religion, race, caste, sex, and place of birth, then what should be punishment? So yes, punishment for Article 15 or Article 17, there are some punishment where, so the punishment which is basically prescribed in the Article 35, and Article 35 basically talks about the Parliament have power. Parliament have power to make laws with respect to Article 15, 17, and for the punishment and the offences. Okay, so this is all about. Very good evening to all. Okay, now come to the next portions, or we can say, so what happens, the term untouchabilities, the term untouchabilities, okay, the term untouchability, this term untouchability, which is not mentioned, or which is not defined, in our constitution, but where this term is defined, the question may ask. So yes, the question is arises, the where this untouchability word is mentioned. So this word is mentioned in the, not in the constitution, but after some judgment. Yes, there are after some judgment, we come to the conclusion that there is some historical development or historical, the untouchability we have a meaning. The Supreme Court, on the some Supreme Court judgment, and judgment is very important. But before the going to the untouchability word, we just I just want to tell you something. In the uh, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, or yes, I remember, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, once both said that if untouchability become a fundamental rights, and if this untouchability uh, become a punishable offense, and the fundamental rights, if this untouchability became a fundamental rights or become a punishable offense, then definitely we can achieve our target to eliminate or eradicate the untouchability in our society. Once they said, okay, now come to the point. Untouchability basically, the judgment, some judgment is very important. The judgment is the first judgment, that is basically related to the Jai Singh Jai Singh Jai Singh versus Union of India case. Okay, and the second judgment basically Dev Rajia Dev Rajia versus the P B Padmanna. This case, basically, when this case is come into the being, when what happened, according to this judgment, the definition of the untouchabilities we got. How? According to this judgment, Supreme Court, no, sorry, the judiciary said that the untouchabilities had not literal or grammatical meaning. This untouchability has not literal and grammatical meaning. Okay, this have a, if you just interpret this untouchability word, yes, we have a one thing that this word has a historical sense or historical meaning. Okay, that means basically related to the slavery system. Okay, so in this judgment, indirectly, this is untouchability word basically related to the historical sense or historical meaning, that is slavery system. So I'm not here I write the slavery, but I here write the historical sense or historical sense, that means slavery system. Okay, so not literal meaning or grammatical meaning of that is untouchability, that means you cannot touch, you cannot untouch or untouch, but this word have a some historical sense of meaning. Okay, so now come to the next, that is article 17, who basically talks about the forbid or the punishment or the offense. So article 70 basically talks about two things. Forbid what? Forbid the practice of the untouchability. And next is the offense. If you practice untouchability, that will be considered as an offense. Okay, so where this offense is mentioned, is there any law? Yes, there is any law. What's the law? The Untouchability Offense Act. The Untouchability Offense Act are there. Okay, so what happens basically, article 17 or part 3rd, article 17 or part 3rd, or part 3rd in the article 17 and article 35, which having a great correlation. How? Forbid, yes, there is a forbid of the practice of untouchability. But what about offense? Where is mentioned? So this offense is which is mentioned in the Untouchability Offense Act. How? So for the offense, there must be any law. There must be any law. So whoever have the power to make the laws. So this is basically given in the article 35. Okay. So that's why if suppose someone asks the question, is there any correlation or relation between article 17 35? Yes. In which way? Article 70 basically provides the offense of the untouchability. Okay, forbid and offense of the untouchability. But where is offense? Where is offense and what is punishable and what is punishable? Okay, offense, that is basically punished. Okay, and where is punishment, which is basically prescribed? So the punishment prescribed in the article according to article 35. 35 basically talks about the parliament have power to make laws with respect to article 17 and 15. Okay, so 35, I will not go to the article 35 because I just correlate this one. Okay, I will be discussing this article 35 in the later. But forbid and punished or offense, we can say. Now come to the next. What about the result of this? So we have a untouchability offense act. Untouchability Offense Act of 1955 came into being by the using of article 17 and article 35. So we have a Untouchability Offense Act 1935, but this act has not enough or adequate provisions with respect to the punishment. So after 10 years, this 1965 was the date when the commission was set up in the name of the Commission of Untouchability Economic and Education Development of SC. Okay, the name is in 1965 the Commission of Untouchability for Education Commission of Untouchable Education and the Economic Development of SC, only SC. Okay, so with the recommendation of these commissions, again this Untouchability Offense Act was renamed in 1976. In 1976, we renamed this Act of 1955 and renamed with the Protection of Civil Rights Act, Protection of Civil Rights Acts. Okay, so this act was renamed with the some modification with the by the recommendation of this commissions. Okay, now this act having enough adequate provisions with respect to the punishment. So right now we have this act. Okay, so this act is very important. if prelims ask the question, basically two acts are same, but this act later acts was with came in with some modification. So 1976, this is all about. Now come to the next point. There are some updated or there are some robust provisions are there. So what are the provisions in the Protection of Civil Rights Act? Yes, that is a question. So in this Protection of Civil Rights Act, we have some updated punishment provisions or prescriptions. In terms of first, there is a uh, there is a enhancement in on punishment. There is a enhancement on punishment. Okay, first thing means the punishment which is basically very less in uh, former act, but when this act was modified or replaced with the Protection of Civil Rights Acts, we have a more concrete punishments provisions. Okay, next is non-compoundable. Non-compoundable. Compoundable means non-compoundable means if means the provisions with which is related to the very uh, very big crimes like murders, rapes. Okay, so untouchability can treat as a non-compoundable offense. Okay, that is again very robust provisions. Third, duty of the public servant. So duty of the public servant. Duty of public servant. Suppose there is a some practice of untouchability and the public servants cannot register your complaint, and if the public servant cannot take action, cannot investigate, okay, or do not do anything in simple, don't do anything or not investigate, in that time the public servant will be considered as the same offensible person. Okay, so duty of public servant is very very important. Next is the power of the state. Power of state. State have power to make laws. Or we can say uh, to make laws with for protection of the civil rights, or we can say the for against the untouchability. Last one, that is just right here, the worship means place of worship. Place of worship. Okay, place of worship. So I think you have been seen the movie Article 15, Ashram Khana. So in that movie, there are some scene with respect to their temple scene are there. I think you have already seen. So in temple scene, there are some discriminations are there. So if anyone perform such type of discriminations or some or untouchability, that will be considered as a offense. So places of worship, suppose one particular caste, suppose in Hindu, okay, in Hindu. So there are some particular caste who do not allow in the temple, that is against the untouchabilities. Some particular caste who cannot who cannot have their entry into the temple, so that is against the untouchability. So such kind of untouchability practices which if anyone perform, it will be considered as an offense. Okay, it will be considered as an offense. Now come to the next, that is a uh, one question may arise if you think uh, the untouchability, abolition of untouchability, or Article 17, which is basically for the state, against the state or the individual. Initially, what happens? Initially, it was only against the state, but when it was implemented for the private, so the very good judgment, a very important judgment was there. The judgment is the People Union of for Democratic Rights versus Union of India case. Okay, that is the judgment. After this judgment, private players or private individuals will be considered as uh, as a for the Article 17. Basically, Article 17, which is basically for against the state. But after this judgment, the untouchability, which is against also against the private individuals. So that is judgment is very very important. I think you are getting my point. Now, the judgment is the uh, public, so people union, people union for democratic rights, for democratic rights, people union for democratic rights versus Union of India case, versus Union of India case. This case is very, very important because under this case, now it will be considered as a private, for private individual. So untouchability again for the private individual. Okay, so the private individual, okay, now it will be also considered. Okay, so for against the Article 17 and 15, against Article 17 and 15. Okay, so this judgment is very very important. Now again a very good judgment. Judgment is the state of Karnataka versus Appa Balu Ingle case. Okay, state of Karnataka versus Appa Balu Ingle case. Okay, so under this case, what happened? The any on the basis of caste, and religion, you cannot perform, you cannot restrict or disable, any person on the basis of caste and religion. You cannot discriminate, or you cannot disable, you cannot restrict or disable to any person. Means disabilities and restrictions is prohibited. Okay, so on the basis of caste and religion, on the basis of caste and religion, there is a prohibition of disability, any disabilities and restriction. Now question again arises, the recently one news, I can't remember. Temple entry, which case was there? I'm not able to recall. So I think okay, when I will recall, I will definitely discuss with this. So this case was there. Okay, so on the basis of caste and religion, prohibition of disabilities and restrictions is prohibited. Okay, so that is this case. Now we have again next case. So next case is again very important. So SC means scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. Okay, protection, or we can say the yes, Prevention of Atrocities Act. Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. It is basically for the protection of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Means how they relieve, how they relieve, and how they include under the SC/ST castes. Okay, that is all about this judgment. Now I think if you have any doubt up till now, please do let me know up till. So Article 70 is not I think not a very big article. Yes, but today's I'm just trying to complete this article in single go or single classes. So yeah, initially we have been discussed the first what is Article 70 is all about, and this article untouchability is what which is basically not mentioned in the uh, our original constitutions. Yes, but over the multiple judgment, just like we have a Jai Singh versus Union of India case and the Dev Rajia versus B Padmana case. This judgment which basically interpret the untouchability word and give the historical sense of the untouchabilities word. There's no any literal or grammatical meaning of this untouchability word. And the next is the Article 70, which basically consists of two words: forbid and punishment, or we can say offense. Forbid, we cannot perform the untouchability, and next is punishment. Okay, that is punish which, and the provisions of the punishment, which is basically mention not mention the power to make the punishment prescribe the punishment, which is basically mentioned in the Article 35. Okay, Article 35 is this one. And this Article 35 is basically empower the Parliament to make laws with respect to Article 17 and 15. Okay, and we have again by using the Article 35, we uh, uh, came into the very new act, that is a Untouchability Offence Act 1955, and this act have had no any adequate provisions with respect to punishment. So in 1965, this act there a government set up new commissions with respect to this act. So the Commission of Untouchability, Education and Economical Development of Scheduled Caste. Okay, and in 1976, finally, after 11 years, so Protection of Civil Rights Act came into the being. So this act is very important with your prelims perspective. Okay, sometime this act was in the news. Okay, some physical related provisions and some updations are there. And this act you can mention in your mains examinations if suppose you just quoting the some point with respect to civil rights, or with respect to the uh, with respect to untouchability, with respect to the manual scavengers. I think we have already been discussed about manual scavengers. What is manual scavengers? So when we discussed that particular articles, uh, in that particular articles, when we provided there some government steps are there. Yes, there some government steps are there. That is the protection of civil rights, and under it SC/ST prevention of atrocities acts are there. Okay, so SC/ST prevention of atrocities acts are there. Now place of worship, that is a we can say the first one, or the we can say the provisions which is basically updated in the Protection of Civil Rights Acts. So this is the first enhancement of the on punishment, means in the Protection of Civil Rights Acts, we the government not government basically yes the government tried to modified or update the prescriptions of the punishments or the offenses for the offenses. Enhancement of punishments, non-compoundable. Yes, there is non-compoundable. That non-compoundable basically means if you perform the untouchability practice of untouchability, basically this practice which is considered as a uh, very big offense which basically comes as a non-compoundable offense. Okay, duty of public servant, that is again very important on the next provisions of the this one. If the public servant do not perform their duty, or do not listen, or do not register the your complaint, yes, the that public servant will also be considered as a public as a offender Okay, and and they are also be chargeable. Power of a state have more power to make laws, or to make guidelines with respect to this one. Next one is the we have been discussed with the some judgment. You have already heard about the Article 17, which is basically for the uh, against the state. Okay, but but after the judgment of the Public Union for Democratic Rights versus Union of India case, there is some updations or modifications are there. The article 17, which is only for the against the state. Now, after this judgment, this article will be against for the private individual as well. Okay. State of Karnataka versus Appavalu Ingle case, that is a very important case, and in this case there is a some restrictions on the basis of the caste and religion. There is some prohibition on the basis of caste and religion, or the provision or the restrictions or any restrictions or disabilities which is prohibited against or on the basis of untouchability on caste and religion. Okay. Last one is SC/ST and Prevention of Atrocities Act. That is, I think this article is not new for you, because this article I think we have already used this article in the some editorial classes like manual scavenging classes. Okay, or SC/ST class or any articles which is basically related to the scheduled caste or scheduled tribes. Okay, so this act is very, very important for the protection of the scheduled caste and tribes. Okay, for the demand, for the concerns, or for the interest of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Okay. Now, one question again arises: is this article is absolute or not? This article is very absolute. Means there is no any reasonable restriction. In Article 17, there is no any reasonable restriction. Okay, reasonable restriction is, suppose let's take an example of Article 14. Okay, Article 14 have a reasonable restriction. Article 15, Article 14 clause 3, clause 4, clause 5, clause 6, these are reasonable restrictions. Article 16, there are clause 16, clause 3, 4, 5 and 6. But this article of 17, this article do not have any reasonable restriction. Means this article is applicable for all. It may be state, it may be any private individual. Okay, so this article have not any sub clause, because if there is a clause, that means there is some reasonable restriction. Let's say we have an Article 19. After that we will be discussing Article 18. But yes, let's take an example of Article 19. So for the Article 19, there is a clause 1, A, B, C, D, E, not F, G. So when there is Article clause 1, Article clause 2, 3, 4 are there. So Article clause 2, 3, 4, basically this article talks about the reasonable restrictions against the Article 19 clause 1. So these articles do not have any subclause in form of subclause, because this article is absolute in nature. These articles do not have any other restrictions. Okay, so this article is very absolute in nature. Now, one more thing. Again, a question may arise that suppose one article, Article 14 to 18, which basically talks about the right to equality. Okay, right to equality. So if I ask the question, it's Article 17. If we make some provisions against the untouchability, if we make laws against the untouchabilities, for example, Protection of Civil Rights Acts, that means we are trying to establish right to equality. Because if you perform untouchability, that means you are performing discriminations, okay, with some other. So to for the right to equality, or to maintain or to set up the right to equality, you must have an article with we can say the like right to untouchability, abolition of untouchability. Okay, so untouchability articles which basically talks the yes, we are equal, or we are not equal. So definitely this article basically promotes the sense of brotherhood or sense of fraternity So yes, this Article 17 and Article 14 to Article 18 talks about the right to equality. And right to equality, that means basically means we can say the we try to maintain in any form. Suppose Article 18 are there. Article 18, I will be start tomorrow, but for today these are only dedicated for the Article 17. Okay, so there are some other things, but in very short, I am just trying to keep the things more simple. I don't go to the more and more judgment, because these judgment are actually already much more. Because if you just go through the uh, Lakshmikant book, M. Lakshmikant book, you find the some judgment, or just some judgment, or according to the judgment, some what are the updations. Okay, so that's why these classes or these sessions will be important. Okay, for who are preparing for the UPSC examination. Okay, so I think right now I I am feeling so tired. Why? I don't know, but I don't think so. For 40 minutes, for 40, I think 40 minutes are there. So if you have any doubt up till now, please do let me know with this article. If you have any doubt with this article, please do let me know. If you have any doubt with respect to this Article 17, please do let me know. Okay. So I think there is no any doubt. So if there is no doubt, I just go to the portion of the Exampur applications. So this is basically the batches for the Exampur Hindi medium. And still, if you do not uh, download the Exampur application app, please go to the Play Store and just download the Exampur application app, and just register yourself, and you can avail all the features which is basically uh, provided by the Exampur application app. For example, we have unlimited quiz and practices, and we have a free previous solved question papers. We have all India scholarship test. Okay, and we have free PDFs, structured paid courses, job alerts. Okay, and in this application we have a daily, weekly, monthly current affairs, and we have a free all India scholarship test. Yes, free subject wise and topic wise quizzes with report cards, and job alerts, admit card, exam date, all exams, previous papers with PDFs with solutions. Okay, that is very, very important. And still, if you face some problem to enroll some courses, paid courses, or access the application, you can call with this number. Okay, and if you do not connect to this number, please do WhatsApp with this particular number, and our team definitely will contact to you. And I hope you really enjoyed this session. And if you have any doubt, please do let me know. Or otherwise, we will meet in the next class, of tomorrow. Okay. So I hope everything is clear to all. So yes, once again. So I think everything is clear to all. So okay, thank you so much. We'll meet again tomorrow. So thank you so much.